Imagine opening your phone late at night and seeing a message that makes your heart race. Someone finally understands you. Someone listens. Someone says all the right things. Now imagine that same conversation slowly leading you toward the darkest moment of your life, without you realizing it until it's too late. Tonight, I'm telling you a story that didn't start with violence or fear. It started with a notification, a simple online romance that ended in murder. This story begins the way millions of love stories begin in America every single day online. Emily Parker was 32 years old, living alone in a quiet suburban town. She had a stable job, a small circle of friends, and a life that looked fine from the outside. But inside she was lonely. Long hours at work, failed relationships, and the feeling that life was passing her by pushed her toward something familiar to many people: dating apps. She wasn't searching for danger. She was searching for connection. That's when she met Jason Reed. Jason's profile looked perfect. Clean-cut photos, a warm smile, and a bio that talked about loyalty, honesty, and wanting something real. He said he worked in logistics, traveled often, and valued deep emotional bonds. From their first conversation, Jason knew exactly what to say. He asked thoughtful questions. He remembered small details. He made Emily feel seen in a way no one had in years. And that's how it started. Not fast, not reckless, but comfortable. Days turned into weeks. Messages became longer. Phone calls replaced texts. Late-night conversations stretched into early mornings. Jason told Emily about his difficult childhood, his struggles, and how hard it was for him to trust people. Emily shared her own vulnerabilities. Every exchange pulled them closer. He told her she was different, that she made him feel safe, that he could see a future with her. But what Emily didn't know was that Jason was creating a version of himself designed specifically for her. He avoided video calls at first, always with an excuse: bad signal, work travel, a broken camera. When they finally did video chat, it was brief and carefully controlled. Jason kept his background neutral, his lighting dim. Emily didn't think much of it. After all, love is built on trust, and Jason had earned hers. What she didn't know was that Jason Reed wasn't his real name. Behind the screen was a man named Daniel Cross, a man with a criminal past, a history of manipulation, and a pattern of targeting women online. He wasn't looking for love. He was looking for control. As the relationship deepened, subtle changes began. Jason started expressing jealousy, masked as concern. He asked who Emily spent time with. He questioned her co-workers. He framed it as care, as protection. Emily mistook possessiveness for passion. When Jason suggested she distance herself from people who didn't understand their relationship, she listened. Slowly, her world began to shrink. Then came the emotional dependency. Jason made himself the center of Emily's emotional life. When she was happy, he celebrated. When she was upset, he was the only one who could comfort her. He created a bond so strong that Emily felt anxious at the thought of losing him. And Daniel knew exactly what he was doing. Isolation makes control easier. After nearly 6 months of talking, Jason suggested they finally meet in person. Emily felt nervous but excited. This was the moment she'd been waiting for. He suggested meeting halfway, in a nearby city, at a quiet rental property he had already arranged. He said hotels were impersonal. He wanted privacy. He wanted their first meeting to be special. Emily agreed. On the day she left, she told a co-worker she was going out of town to meet someone special. She packed lightly, full of hope, unaware that she was walking into a trap. The rental house was isolated. Trees surrounded it. No close neighbors. When Emily arrived, Jason greeted her with warmth. He looked slightly different from his photos, but not enough to alarm her. People look different in real life, she told herself. He hugged her, reassured her, and for a moment, everything felt real. That night, the illusion shattered. An argument started over something small. A comment. A misunderstanding. But the reaction was intense. Jason's tone changed. His calm demeanor disappeared. Emily saw a side of him she had never seen before. Anger, volatility, control. She tried to de-escalate, but he wouldn't let it go. The man she thought she knew wasn't there anymore. What happened next unfolded quickly and violently. Neighbors later reported hearing shouting. Then silence. Emily never left the house alive. Daniel Cross killed her during that first meeting. A relationship that existed mostly through screens ended in a crime scene. When Emily didn't return home, concern grew. Friends tried calling. Messages went unanswered. Her phone went dark. Police were eventually notified. At first, there was confusion. Emily had no known enemies, no signs of trouble, until investigators discovered her online relationship. They traced messages, IP addresses, fake profiles. Slowly, the truth emerged. Jason Reed didn't exist. Daniel Cross did, and he was already on law enforcement's radar for past offenses involving fraud and violence. He was arrested days later, trying to disappear again. In court, prosecutors laid out the pattern. Daniel created emotional dependency. He isolated his victims. He controlled the pace, the narrative, the truth. Emily wasn't his first target. She was just the first one who ended in murder. Her family later said something that still echoes. Emily didn't make reckless choices. She trusted someone who spent months convincing her he was safe. And that's what makes this story so unsettling. There was no dark alley, no suspicious stranger, no obvious warning signs at first glance. Just a conversation, a connection, a relationship built through screens and words. This wasn't about stupidity or carelessness. It was about manipulation. Online romance doesn't have to be dangerous. Millions of people meet safely every year. But this case reminds us how easily trust can be exploited when someone controls the narrative. When love moves faster than verification. When emotional bonds form before reality is tested. The most chilling part is how ordinary it all felt at the beginning. A dating app. Friendly messages. Late-night calls. The same routine happening right now on phones across the country. Emily's story ended in tragedy, but it leaves behind a warning. Not to fear love. Not to avoid connection. But to stay grounded in reality. To listen when something feels off. To protect your world, your support system, your independence, even when emotions are involved. Because sometimes the greatest danger doesn't come from strangers. It comes from the person who knows exactly how to earn your trust and exactly how to destroy it. And that's why this story matters. Not because it's shocking, but because it's possible.